This is Steve Googe welcoming you back to another session for Supervised Ministry 301. By now you've discovered that this is a quite different type of course. It offers many challenges to the student, but the challenges are ones that are manageable, and if you take them one at a time, it's like eating an elephant. You just do it one bite at a time. Now today we're going to talk about developing objectives and a learning covenant. This is very important to your progress in this class. Now, the sources I have used, and I would recommend these to you, are these: Planning for Ministry, A Practical Guide to Theological Field Education, and Experiencing Ministry Supervision. Both of these volumes have been a great resource to me in preparing for and teaching this class. Setting objectives and a learning covenant are very important for the progress of each student in this class. We need to plan. If you plan nothing, that's what you get, nothing. However, it's good for us to remember Proverbs 16:9. It says this: "In your heart you plan your life, but the Lord decides where your steps will take you." Always remember that God is in charge, and sometimes our plans will not work out just as we anticipated they would. That's okay. God's guiding us, and He will provide the direction we need for each step we take. Where are we going in this PowerPoint lecture? These are the things we will learn: the differences between goals and objectives, the characteristics of objectives, what exactly is a learning covenant. We'll also learn the benefits of a covenant, and then last, how to write a covenant. This will be very important to you in preparation for meeting with your field supervisor on week number 5. So I hope that you'll be able to take this information and use it wisely. Now, if you have questions about any part of the assignments in this class, for this is a different type of class altogether, please let me know. Email me, or you can call me if you need to do that, for I will be happy to clarify the expectations. Don't feel like you need to just aimlessly wander around in the assignments and try to figure out for yourself what needs to be done. If you have questions, please raise them. Now let's attempt to differentiate between goals and objectives, and then look at the 3 categories that objectives can be divided into. George Hunter draws a distinction between a goal and an objective. He defines a goal as a destination. I quote him: "Goals, by their very nature, are broad, summary kinds of statements and are meant to address the major reason why a student wants to be in a particular field, that is, a hospital or a parish. An objective is a minor goal which focuses upon a specific phase or a particular aspect of the overall goal." End quote. For example, a youth pastor might set an objective of learning how to minister to the youth when a crisis affects the entire group, such as an automobile accident that takes the life of a member of the group. A student who is called to be a pastor might have as an objective to develop an effective training program for deacons in the church, and perhaps it might be in response to needs which have been identified and expressed. An objective is stated in terms of specific experience and aims at measurable growth in the student's life. A useful objective will identify the kind of performance, that is, what the outcome is to be, which will be accepted as evidence that the student has indeed achieved mastery of the objective. Now, according to Richard Burns, there are 3 categories of objectives. Number 1 is cognitive, that is, having to do with factual knowledge, understanding, processes, and strategies. The second category of objectives could be stated in this way: it's the affective category. That has to do with attitudes, appreciations, interests, and feelings. And then the last category is the psychomotor. That's having to do with body movements, as with motor sets and skills. Your objectives for this class can be written in any one of these 3 categories. How might we describe good objectives? Well, they are achievable. Second, the student is committed to them. And that's one of the important areas. I hope that your objectives will be written out of needs and passions that you have. Objectives are specific. They are measurable. They have time limits. And they represent a moderate risk. It's important that success be possible, but students need to have objectives which will challenge and stretch them. That is, they have a risk. Before your initial meeting with your field supervisor, you must spend some time writing out some of your objectives for this quarter. In that way, you will be prepared for your initial meeting with your field supervisor. Again, that's on week number 5. You will, at that time, fill in your learning covenant, sign it, ask your field supervisor to sign it, and return a copy to me. You will find a guide to writing your learning covenant in appendix number 2 of your syllabus. Now, let's talk about the learning covenant itself. How can you write good objectives? Well, this acronym might help us. It is developed off the word SMART. So you want to make SMART objectives. You will want to write SMART objectives. S stands for specific. You don't want generalizations in your objectives. Measurable is M. A, attainable. R, relevant. T, trackable. Those are 5 good characteristics of a SMART objective. On this slide, we'll talk about what a learning covenant really is, and then we will talk about the benefits of a covenant. What is a learning covenant? The word covenant is used intentionally because of its rich biblical heritage. God's covenantal relationship with us gives direction and understanding to our covenants with others. Your learning covenant will provide some structure for your relationship with God and with your field supervisor. The covenant should be mutually negotiated and accepted. It allows you to take charge of your own learning. Most of your educational experience has consisted in doing what others told you to do. For example, a professor or a teacher. A covenant allows you to decide what you want to learn this quarter. This process allows you to select your own learning activities and objectives. You select, then write what, when, and how you plan to learn. A covenant relationship builds trust, lessens fear, and provides a basis for a good working relationship between the student and his or her field supervisor. The structure helps you get things done in a way that will help you do ministry in an even more effective way. A covenant is a tool for good time management. You only have so many hours in a day. Many of you are bivocational. Several of you go to school, work a full-time job, and are also involved as parents. Therefore, you want to use your time wisely. Your covenant should help you get the most important things done in a timely manner. Your covenant will make or break your supervised ministry class. Therefore, work hard to craft a good document that will help you achieve your personal goals for this quarter. The covenant is like writing your own syllabus for the course. It's a map to get you where you want to go. I would remind you again that appendix number 2 in your course syllabus will help you in writing your covenant of learning. On this slide, we will talk about the specifics of writing a learning covenant. We'll talk about 3 specific areas of your covenant, and that is the job description, supervision and resources, and your learning objectives. If you don't have your course syllabus in hand, it might be good to stop the lecture at this point and open your syllabus to page 11, which is appendix number 2, entitled Composing a Learning Covenant. This, I think, could be beneficial in following this presentation. The job description is the first of 3 sections of the Learning Covenant. It is a simple and straightforward outline of the role and responsibilities in Supervised Ministry 301. This is an outline of the expectation of the ministry, and a breakdown of responsibilities and how time will be used. If the job you will be doing already has a job description, simply cut and paste into the covenant. The job description is written from the perspective that you are to serve, and while serving in that ministry, learn at the very same time. Now, notice section number 2, supervision and resources. This is the critical part of the covenant. It describes the mentoring relationship. In this section, you are asked to outline how you desire the mentoring meetings to be handled, as well as what you desire in the actual working relationship with your field supervisor. Expectations can be expressed, and unrealistic ones can be discarded. A student can express that they are looking for a coach, a spiritual friend, a guide, a director, a sympathetic trainer, a strict supervisor in the mentoring relationship. Field supervisors, too, can express how they would like to see the relationship develop. During this time, you are asked to determine specific topics for discussion with your field supervisor. Realize that current ministry concerns will take precedence over an agreed upon topic. The student should pump the experience and knowledge of the field supervisor for deeper understanding of how he does ministry. Now we come to the third of 3 sections. It is the learning objectives. Here, you will move to specifics as you outline your personal goals for this term. The categories of learning objectives are divided into 3 areas or 3 focuses. One is knowing, doing, and being. Here, you are asked to develop 3 specific, measurable objectives for each area so that by the end of the quarter, you will have a measure of your progress.